Wall Street Journal, you just sound dumb.
No matter what.
Anybody who has access to the MLS, anybody who holds a license, any investor, anybody close to the game of real estate, of buying, selling, and investing, knows what you're saying isn't accurate. This is Byron, Lazine, and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 293 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
NAR's up. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services is up.
NAR's always up.
And Keller Williams is up. They're all up on the trial. Just started yesterday, October the 16th. It's the Sitzer Burnett trial, which is underway in Kansas City, Missouri. And I thought I thought going into the end of last week, you would see three big announcements in succession. KW, BHHS, NAR, all
selling out,
have settled.
Yeah.
Because there's precedent now with Anywhere settling, with RE/MAX settling.
Right.
They've dipped out. They're not in. They're probably as far away from Kansas City as you could be.
Yeah.
RE/MAX and Anywhere. And they feel like they got out. We covered it. Go back and listen if you're not up to date on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it seems like it was a pretty easy,
super easy.
settlement.
It's more about disclosure. It was all about disclosure.
There wasn't much significant change there, but this trial is going to bring out some significant commentary. We'll see what ends up happening at the end. Let's frame it up. Let's start with.
I do still wish it was kind of like the Johnny Depp trial, you know?
Yeah.
We can get like the live coverage.
I'll give Inman credit where credit is due. They're out there. They're covering this.
They should. I mean,
So,
this
absolutely.
is their time to shine. This is the time to give the people what they want.
As journalists, they should be right there covering this every step of the way. So thank you for that. Thank you, Notorious R.O.B.
I mean, always a little humor. I enjoy him.
For this tweet, we can put it up. The fate of the real estate industry in the U.S. may be in the hands of 9 renters who couldn't avoid jury duty for a 3-week trial. That is pretty hilarious.
But we'll give the background as to why. Maybe not everyone knows.
The jury pool yesterday morning was of at least 80. It's one of the largest ever convened in the district for a civil trial. And so what happened was, if you were a home seller from 2014 and beyond, you were automatically dismissed from the 80. So if you sold a home during that time period, you weren't able to, and that's why Notorious R.O.B. He doesn't know if they're only renters.
So I could have been in it.
It doesn't say you could still own a home.
And you could still buy a home.
So potential jurors.
What if you were an investor?
Let me just read what we have here from realestatenews.com. Potential jurors and attorneys filled into a small courtroom at the Charles E. Whitaker U.S. Courthouse. The jury pool of at least 80 is the largest one convened in the district for a case not involving a capital offense in recent memory. The pool quickly shrunk, however, as members of the class, Missouri home sellers who sold a house in 2014 and beyond, were dismissed straight away. By the end of the day, 9 people were selected, 7 men and 2 women. We know women are more likely to be a homeowner than a male, so
most recently,
maybe Notorious R.O.B.'s onto something there about renters. Sorry, guys. The judge asked the assembled potential jurors not to consider any outside information about the case and to not discuss the facts of the case with anyone during the trial process. Kind of standard procedure there.
I wonder if it's easier for that to actually happen if you're not in the real estate.
Well, it's hard to happen when, you haven't had much national.
No, there really
I mean,
unless you're
some.
A little bit, but not really. I mean, again, unless you're really in.
Until yesterday.
In it.
Until yesterday, though, Nicole, you had the Wall Street Journal post an article.
Yes.
From the editorial board. This is an opinion piece. Listen, Wall Street Journal, I know what you're up to. This was bought and paid for by the attorneys representing the antitrust lawsuit. The editorial board, you don't even put a name on this. It's an opinion piece. Realtors face an antitrust reckoning. Here's how it starts from the Wall Street Journal. Yesterday the article got launched as the trials started.
Of course.
Okay. Perfect timing.
Right.
Don't think the attorneys had anything to do with that one. As powerful lobbies go, few have more clout than the realtors. But the cartel faces a major legal challenge on Monday when a federal jury trial begins in a class action against its rules that raise the cost of home buying and selling homes. This is the Burnett versus National Association of Realtors. NAR, we've been particularly hard on you for good reason.
Right.
For your own dismay in recent weeks. This is your Super Bowl. This is your legacy moment. This is why you exist.
Right.
A moment like this is exactly why NAR exists. And if you don't take advantage of it, seize the moment, show up as a leader, you will be forever forgotten.
I imagine that's probably why they didn't settle.
You could argue that the settlement is the right move if it reflected potential language like Remax and Anywhere.
Yes.
But here's one of the things, and I think that NAR might be willing to die on the sword because think about the Remax and the Anywhere settlement. It said you no longer have to be a member of NAR.
Right.
If they're going to support that, they're writing their own death wish.
Right.
And so are they, to the detriment of all of their members, are they willing to see this thing all the way through because they want to protect their own membership dues? That's a conspiracy theory. Put that in the Byron Lazine conspiracy theory bucket.
There's lots of conspiracy theories happening here.
But I'll just throw that out there. Going back to the Wall Street Journal, NAR requires its 1.5 million or so members to comply with numerous rules that inflate their pay. Missouri home sellers are arguing in the lawsuit that a rule requiring them to make a blanket offer of compensation to any potential buyer brokers violate the Sherman Antitrust Act. The realtors require this offer. Now, NAR just changed this. They're not requiring...
Not requiring it anymore. Well, they're requiring that you can put... They're not yes. You can put a 0.
You can put a 0 into the MLS field. So they just changed that, which, according to some, was an admission of guilt just a week before this trial. I thought it was odd timing. Why are you going to be that reactionary a week before the trial?
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a second. So they require the database of homes for sale that serves the same purpose as a stock exchange. Realtors require, if they want to be on the MLS, they're saying. While innovation and competition have been slashed, stockbroker commissions, innovation and competition have slashed stockbroker commissions, the commission on home sales has stayed basically flat for decades at 6%, split evenly between the buyer and seller agents. Okay, Wall Street Journal, getting your talking points from an attorney and not doing research is bad. Okay, this isn't smart, Wall Street Journal. All you got to do is go and do a little bit of research to understand
pretend to be a seller.
That the average is not 6%.
Right.
I don't know about you. So they're saying that the standard buyer commission out there has stayed flat for decades at 3%, a 6% split evenly at 3 and 3. If you open up the MLS
and
right now,
I got a
Nicole,
3%, I'd be like, woo! You never see 3%, ever.
How often do you see it on the buy side?
1 out of, maybe 200, 300. Never. You're never, because honestly, if someone's getting a 6%, are they really splitting it evenly down the middle?
And so what you're describing is one market in the Northeast.
Yes.
We know of many other markets.
Yes.
I know of a lot of luxury markets that would say 3. I've never seen it. I know a lot of markets across the country are far less than 3, a variety of different numbers.
I'm sure those luxury markets are probably getting 3 total.
What percent of the time in the comments do you see 3% being offered? Now, some markets, it may be common, but to say that has been the blanket across the industry,
I think we probably saw
ludicrous.
I think we saw 3% probably like maybe 11, 12, because it was motivation. It was a seller's way of potentially trying to motivate buyers and their to come to their property. It was certainly used in a positive. It's always used in a positive fashion. motivation there. But no, I've never seen 3.
In the Wall Street Journal says, in other developed countries, buyer brokers are far less common and get paid by their clients on average about 1.5%. They go on later to say, it's clear from the evidence presented by the plaintiffs that the realtor's primary interest is ensuring buyer brokers make a 3% commission no matter what. Get the most out of our content at BAM by joining BAMX. You can use code REALWORD to get 10% off of BAMX today. Like our YouTube accountability group, all of our courses, live streams, and direct access to our BAM creators in our Facebook group. You also get our daily downloads from the hot sheet every single day. Join BAMX by using code REALWORD to get 10% off today. Wall Street Journal, you just sound dumb.
No matter what.
Anybody who has access to the MLS, anybody who holds a license, any investor, anybody close to the game of real estate, of buying, selling, and investing, knows what you're saying isn't accurate. There is very few times when you see a 3% buyer broker offer in many of the markets across America. Does it happen? Yes. Is it all negotiable? It absolutely is. Right. And so maybe you see 3, maybe you see higher sometimes, not very often.
Especially, well, in this
and
market,
a lot
though,
of times
too,
you see much lower.
a lot of agents are even negotiating their compensation in order for their clients to then win. So then the seller is actually then making more money off of the sale because the agent is willing and offering to take less.
Now, buyer firms training agents to set overall commission rates at 6% split evenly between the buyer and seller. They're saying that there's a conspiracy out there that brokers are training people to get a certain percentage. Now, there's a difference between colluding in a market, which is kind of what they're insinuating here, to get higher commissions by making a standard, don't call it training, but call it now a standard where everybody, and then I'm just kind of reading between the lines of what they're saying. They have a quote from a firm's training document. Once you start cutting commissions, you can never stop. That would be in the collusion category, or getting in the gray area of the collusion category. But offering packages to a seller of, I can do this for you at this percent. I can do this for you at this percent.
Everything comes
is a standard fair trade way of doing business.
Sure.
And I don't understand why a listing agent couldn't go in and say, in this package, I'm going to do all of this on the marketing, and out of what you're paying me, I'm going to pay a buyer agent
you're paying me
to bring.
Right, because the contract is written between seller and the listing broker.
And I'm curious to see what the judge is going to say about that. Like, I'm charging you a commission, seller. I'm going to take this money and I'm going to choose to compensate from this commission that I've received a cooperating buyer broker. Now, to make that a mandatory thing that a seller has to do, I absolutely agree. That shouldn't be done.
No.
You should have a choice to do what you want to do.
The only listing contract I haven't seen all of them, but I remember at Coldwell Banker on the listing contract, it did have us write in what we were offering. So the seller did have to agree on what we were offering out.
If I'm going to present a package to a seller of this is what I'm going to do for X commission.
Right.
I want to explain these are the advertising things I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to offer out to the other side.
Right.
This is what, we're investing in the property to get it prepared pre-sale. I want to let them know what they're paying for.
Of course.
I absolutely think that they should know, and they should have the right to say, which, by the way, Wall Street Journal, they basically, and most MLSs do have the right, to say, we're not going to offer anything. So let's try our options that way.
Right.
And maybe they're successful.
And I feel like I've seen probably more people more recently only offering out $500 more than I've seen people offering out 3%.
Oh, yeah. You see that more than 3%. That's for sure. So here's the other side of the Wall Street Journal that I take a little, I just don't understand where they're coming from here. Realtors deny that brokers steal their clients away from homes that offer lower commissions. I don't really see that as a contagion across the industry. But they're referencing a study published last week that provides contrary evidence. Lower commission listings receive fewer page views on real estate listing Redfin. Well, I can promise you agents aren't
on Redfin,
the ones jacking up the page views on Redfin. These are consumers. So consumers.
Right.
So Redfin said, their real estate listings take that offer a lesser commission, take longer to sell, and they have less page views. And Wall Street Journal's making the claim because brokers are less likely to forward them to their clients. Brokers aren't forwarding Redfin listings to their clients,
definitely
you idiots.
Not forwarding Redfin.
Wall Street Journal, wake up.
Right.
They're putting them on an MLS search.
Yeah.
We're putting a lot of our buyers with the team on Real Scout search. It's a very sophisticated search through the MLS.
I think what this is validating here is what you're saying. So for this price, this is what you're getting for marketing. And again, and for this price, this is what you're getting for marketing. So that house is getting the marketing that it clearly deserves because that seller is only willing to pay so much for the marketing of the house.
That seller's not offering, or they're offering a lower commission on the buy side. To your point, what's the standard of photography that they're using? Maybe, is that why it's getting lower page listings? Because they didn't want to invest?
Did they stage it? Did they make their bed?
Did they
take their cats out of the photo?
If they're a penny pinching seller,
right?
Did they penny pinch the advertising and marketing to present the property in the light that it should be presented?
Absolutely.
That's why there's potential page view decrease on Redfin, not because agents are sharing this listing. They're not sharing Redfin.com listings. Okay, so that study is dog you know what. All right, so that's the Wall Street piece. Now, we gave Inman their flowers here for being the journalists that they say they are. They're at the trial. I'm really happy with that. They've got a whole bunch of updates, okay? And today, by the time this pod comes out, there's hopefully going to be even some more news. But today's day 2. They've got the jury set. It's going to be about 3 weeks. But there was really nothing else that happened yesterday. So we'll kind of see as the week goes on what happens.
Right. I mean, they are anticipating that whoever, is found guilty, there will be appeals. So, I mean, it doesn't even sound like there will really even be any huge changes for a few years anyway. Well, but it will be interesting to see what all shakes out from all this.
Already with these settlements, you haven't seen. Listen, Zillow compressed commissions more than anything else with the referral fees, and you could just put Zillow into the category of all of these portals that sell leads. That's compressed commissions more than anything. The other big piece here that just came out, it was released on October 4th from an investment banking firm, Keefe Bruyette Woods. They forecast that if shared commission is banned, which, going back to my point, I don't know why a listing broker wouldn't be allowed to pay a buyer broker with their money earned if they so choose.
Right.
To ban the ability for a business to earn money and then pay that money to another business, I have a hard time with that.
Right.
But so this study is saying that if shared commission is banned, the annual pool of real estate commissions could drop as much as 60%. If the courts hearing class action lawsuits ban cooperative compensation, according to this report. And they also say that it's very likely that cooperative compensation, where listing agents share commissions paid by home sellers with buyer agents, will be banned in the near future. So they're saying if it's banned, commissions could drop as much as 60%. The likelihood of it being banned, they're saying, is very likely. They put it at 50% for an exact odd. And they say that they say 50% overall for Sitzer Burnett, but a 75% in the Morel lawsuit. They say it's 75% chance, so a better chance of it happening there. They go on to say that as much as 80% of National Association of Realtors members will leave the association, falling from 1.6 million to between 300 and 600,000. I think it was last week, I said I could see just with the settlement and the over the next 12 to 24 months of agents having the option with their brokerage to be in or to be out
of NAR,
that it would drop below 800,000.
Is this talking about leaving NAR though, or is this talking about leaving the industry?
This is the members of NAR.
Okay.
So NAR. So I'm actually with that prediction, I think they're on the aggressive side. I kind of cut it in half. we have 1.6 million members right now. We have about 600,000 too many just on any given day.
Oh, of course.
Okay?
Well, I'm thinking a lot of those people will just wash themselves out. I mean, if they're predicting 60 to 75% reduction in commission, I mean, bye-bye 1, 2, Z's, 3, Z, you know?
I'm saying without the reduction in commission, I had NAR down to 800,000 last week just based off of if every brokerage gives option where there's not a tie-in agreement with the local board.
Yeah.
Okay. Ultimately...
Well, there was one person last week that was like, "Oh, I would stay because they get their Inman subscription through NAR." Like it was.
Okay, well now BAM.com doesn't charge you anything, so get over there, and we're covering all this stuff as well. But here's what I'll say: we're gonna see how this kind of shakes out. This is really NAR's last-ditch effort of showing members extreme value. They still have so much to clean up. Obviously, the allegations, the tie-in agreements, the code of ethics, all these different things.
Who's in charge? What are they getting paid?
How much they're getting? How much they're paying? Harvest Marketing Group.
I knew that was coming.
So many fixes that NAR needs to go through. They can get a big win and then start working on these.
Right.
By protecting the industry, protecting buyers, protecting consumers through this trial.
Well, they would truly show their value here. And then people would probably then want to participate. They would want to be a part of this. And they would be more than happy to continue to pay their dues if they know that there is some value there. This is their Super Bowl for sure.
Jeff Bezos often says his job when he was a CEO of Amazon was to put himself out of business, to pretend every day he's a startup. Think like it's day one. We talked about that back in 2017 when we started our team. Pretend every day is a startup. It's day one every single day. National Association of Realtors, you need to pretend it's day one of the association. Forget about your legacy. Forget about all of the decades of... Listen, here's the last line on the Wall Street Journal piece.
Well, they call them cronies.
The last line says, "We're no fans of most antitrust suits, but the evidence is strong that realtors' practices are classic antitrust violations that harm consumers." Now, side note, this is written by the attorneys of this antitrust lawsuit. Way to go, Wall Street Journal. How much did you make for this? But here's the last sentence. "The realtors may own the U.S. Congress, but perhaps independent courts won't be so intimidated." Realtors, NAR, you have done a good job as being the biggest lobbying group, and you've done a lot to protect buyers in the past, home ownership, as well as the agent community. This is your biggest task yet. Nobody's going to care about the last number of decades and what you've done with Congress. Congress is going to turn on you so quickly if you don't come out of this on top.
Right.
Your members are already turning on you for a variety of other reasons, misuse of funds being at the top of the list.
Right.
Here's your moment to turn the tide. We'll be following every step of the way. Make sure you're subscribed here to BAM so that you can stay informed. YouTube doesn't send you a bill. There's no paywall to hit subscribe on YouTube, Nicole. It's just boom, subscribe. You're in. Appreciate you guys, and we'll catch up with you again next week on The Real World.
See you guys.
Keep it real.